are you?
Good, how are you?
Excellent. Today we're going to check you out, huh?
Okay.
Like all clinicians, Dr. Gina Johnson knows that delivering quality care is impossible without the right communication skills. So she spent years cultivating a bedside manner intended to maximize trust and minimize stress for patients. But as her health system began to embrace telehealth, Dr. Johnson wondered whether that bedside manner would hold up over the internet.
One of the things that's very challenging for me is connecting with the patients so they can feel like they're in the room with me when they're not in the room with me, and the same thing, I'm not in the room with them.
Without the luxury of relying on trial and error, Dr. Johnson referred herself to a specialist, one who focuses on webside manner. And I'm that specialist. My name is Mark Bernheimer. I spent years as a network news reporter before becoming a healthcare media trainer and communications coach. When I saw telehealth proliferating, I immediately thought back to my training as a broadcaster and all the years it took me to perfect my on-camera skills.
Ecological tragedy. Others say it's nothing more than natural selection.
Well, the meetings were not disrupted, but that doesn't mean the protesters were entirely unsuccessful, Chuck.
It occurred to me that doctors don't get the training or the practice that I got. It also occurred to me that the wrong presentation skills could be devastating to a doctor's practice or even a health system. Proper communication techniques are especially important when the office visit is virtual because of telehealth's unique challenges. Patients, particularly adults and seniors, may initially be less comfortable with telehealth than in-person office visits. Without seeing a medical building, diplomas, and a helpful staff, patients may gauge a doctor's professionalism purely on the basis of his or her communication skills. It's harder to see the whole patient and harder for them to see the doctor. Seeing and hearing are the only senses. Clinicians obviously aren't able to touch or smell through telehealth. The camera compresses gestures, expressions, and emotion and may conceal subtle nonverbal cues. Patients in their own homes may be fighting distractions and may find it harder to concentrate. We may not be able to eliminate these challenges, but we can mitigate them. It takes about half an hour to train a clinician on best practices in webside manner. Conversely, doing it the wrong way takes no training at all. Handheld phones and tablets may be the quickest and most convenient way to contact a patient, but the shaky handheld shot and the distracting background ruins the atmosphere for the office visit. It's hard enough to talk to friends and family this way. Trying to communicate effectively with an anxious patient? Nearly impossible. Good webside manner actually begins before the office visit. We've already seen how a handheld phone is inferior to a stationary computer or tablet. Sound quality is critical, which may require an external microphone. They're inexpensive and easy to find. A proper private setting without distractions is key. It could be an examination room, a conference room, or the doctor's private office. A fast and reliable internet connection is critical to avoid interruptions and appointment delays. And clinicians should be certain they're comfortable with their telehealth software to avoid making patients wait as they figure it out on the fly. We began Dr. Johnson's virtual training session with a quick primer on camera technique. Good morning, Dr. Johnson. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good morning to you.
First thing that I'm noticing as I talk to you is you've got that giant window behind you. The problem with those windows is that, of course, it kind of floods through, it overexposes the shot a little bit. It can sort of wash us out when we're standing or sitting between a window and our camera. So it's always best to use the window to our advantage by having it in front of us rather than behind us. So the first thing I'm going to ask you is there a place where you can put the camera so that the window is more in front of you, illuminating your face rather than backlighting you?
Yes, I think there's a counter right here that I can do that.
If you can move your laptop or your tablet over there, let's see what a difference it makes. There you go. All right. Much better. Now we can see your smiling face. We can see what's going on behind you. We have a very perfectly appropriate professional clinical setting behind you rather than just a blasted out light where the window was before. And this is going to be a lot easier to talk to you now. So the next thing I would like to have you do is, if possible, can you elevate the tablet just a couple of inches so that it's at eye level and you're not looking down anymore? Can you try that? That's looking great. That's looking perfect. There you go. We don't have you looking up or looking down. We have you looking straight ahead. So that is about as good of a shot as we can ever hope for in a doctor's office setting. Lighting and camera position are critical, but once the camera is set up perfectly, presentation skills are every bit as important. Experts say that the content of our messaging, our words, may only account for as little as 20% of the information being received by the person we're talking to. And because the small screen of a laptop or a tablet compresses us, we have to exaggerate body language, energy, and emotion. And by the time the message is received on the other end, it will seem natural. But by far the most important nonverbal cue in telehealth has to do with our eyes. Let's talk about eye contact next, because it's really important through telehealth, just as it is in person when you're dealing with a patient, to make eye contact. And you can't literally do that when you are talking to somebody through video conferencing. However, you can give the illusion of eye contact if you look right into the lens of the camera. So try that. There you go. Now we're looking at each other face to face. It's counterintuitive, but the way to make eye contact in a telehealth visit is to break eye contact. That is to say that unless you're conducting a virtual examination, you don't look down at the patient's face on your screen. You look directly into the camera. Once we got the technical fixes out of the way, we got to work on Dr. Johnson's general communication skills through the use of role play.
Good morning, I'm Dr. Johnson. It's nice to see you.
We talked about how to put a patient at ease using facial expressions and tone. Evoking warmth and compassion can be tough through a laptop. We talked about body language and other nonverbal cues. And we discussed ways of connecting with younger patients who may be bored, disengaged, or intimidated. Here's a hint: a virtual fist bump can go a long way. The training took us right to the end of the virtual visit, as Dr. Johnson wondered how to wrap it all up.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll see you later. It's not, I think certainly for me as a professional, it's a little hard to, am I supposed to wave? Am I supposed to, how does that work out?
You can reassure the patient that although you may not be seeing them in person tomorrow or next week, you are going to be here for them, and they're going to be able to reach out to you and see you again just like this if they need to.
I found this training incredibly useful. I have been connecting via telehealth with my patients for about 3 months now, and the experience it's a bit of a challenge. It's a bit of something new for me, and I knew that there were things that made it a little awkward, but I couldn't identify exactly what those things were. So it was really helpful. I think one of the things that I found the most helpful was, where's the camera and where should I be looking in order to actually be looking the patient in the eyeballs? And then to be able to practice that a little bit in this time was very helpful for me.
Every patient is unique, and so is every clinician. Some abhor the idea of telehealth because they're just not comfortable on camera. Others have pretty good instincts for virtual healthcare and just need a few pointers. The Webside Manner training program focuses on the individual needs and challenges of each clinician, providing personalized coaching and feedback in a little more than the time it takes for the average office visit. If you'd like to learn more about our training programs, please go to our website at websidemanner.net.